Have you ever had that feeling where you're just working incredibly hard, but you feel like you're not really getting anywhere? Well, what if the reason for that isn't about your effort at all? What if it's actually about the hidden questions you're constantly asking yourself? Today, we are diving into a really powerful idea that our internal questions are secretly and powerfully shaping our entire reality. To really get this, let's start with a feeling I think a lot of us can relate to, this constant struggle against life's unseen current. Picture yourself in a boat. When you're rowing against the current, you have to pour every ounce of your energy into it just to inch forward. And the second you stop, the moment you even pause to catch your breath, whoosh, you're pushed right back to where you started. It is an absolutely exhausting way to live.
And listen, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. The source material we're looking at suggests that over 90% of people feel this way. But here's the thing. This constant struggle, it's not some personal failing. It's really just a sign that we're living a little out of sync with life's deeper principles. But the good news? We don't have to keep fighting. There is a way to turn that boat around and finally go with the flow.
So how do we do that? How do we find that current and start moving with it? You might think it takes some giant, life-altering action, but it actually doesn't. The entire transformation, believe it or not, begins with something much, much smaller. Just a single spark of insight.
See, true lasting change is always an inside job first. It follows this three-step chain reaction. It all kicks off with a realization, that powerful aha moment. But it's not just a fleeting thought, right? That spark blossoms into a deep understanding, which then, and only then, leads to a fundamental transformation in the entire direction of your life.
And I absolutely love this quote. It really suggests that one single moment of genuine realization can be more valuable than decades of just going through the motions. It's not about how long we live, it's about how deeply we understand the life we're living. Okay, so if realization is the key, what actually triggers these life-changing aha moments? What's the secret switch? Well, the answer is in the questions we hold, often unconsciously, in the back of our minds. Now, this isn't just any random thought that pops into your head. The source material calls it an inquiry. It's a persistent question, a deep wonder that you carry with you. A better way to think about it is like a search query you've given to your brain's own supercomputer. It just works tirelessly in the background, trying to find the answer that you so desperately want. And here is where it gets absolutely critical. The entire direction of your life can hinge on the type of inquiry you're holding. Your questions are either launching you forward or they're holding you back. There's really no middle ground. There are only two paths. We're all standing at this fork in the road, whether we know it or not. On one side, you've got negative inquiry. This is when your guiding question actually runs completely opposite to what you truly want. And on the other side, you have positive inquiry, which aligns perfectly with your desires. The choice between them literally dictates whether we end up with negative outcomes or positive ones. It's a simple distinction, but man, the consequences are profound. Okay, here's a perfect everyday example of what I mean. A mother's true desire is obviously for her child to have healthy eyes. But what does she ask? Do you want to ruin your eyes? Her question focuses all the energy on the unwanted outcome, ruined eyes. So she's unintentionally steering her child's and even her own focus in the exact opposite direction of her goal. I know this might still feel a bit abstract, so let's get into how this plays out in real life. We've got two really powerful stories from the source material that show this in action. So first, take the story of Fan Kim Tang Bin. He was just stuck in this negative inquiry loop, feeling totally unappreciated by his wife. His mind was filled with blame. But then, after a really difficult conversation, he managed to shift his question. He went from blame to gratitude. And that simple reframe triggered this massive realization for him. His wife wasn't the source of his problems. She was actually his greatest supporter. And that just completely transformed his marriage from one of resentment to one of deep happiness. Next up, let's talk about Emily's story. Her constant question, why can't I find a suitable partner? I mean, come on, that is a classic negative inquiry. It is framed entirely around lack, it's focused on what's missing, which only reinforces the very problem she's trying to solve.
The big breakthrough happens when she reframes that question. She shifts from focusing on the problem, why can't I find someone, to focusing on the solution. How can I have a happy marriage? It's a really small change in the wording, but that one little twist changes everything.
Her new, positive question led her to this incredible realization. I was trying to harvest fruit instead of learning to grow the tree. She finally got it. A happy relationship isn't something you just find out there, it's something you have to grow. She realized she had to become the kind of person who could create and sustain a happy marriage, rather than just searching for a perfect, finished product. And this brings us to what is maybe the most empowering idea of all. We aren't just helpless passengers in the boat of life. We are the ones steering. And by consciously choosing our questions, we can finally stop fighting the current and start using it to guide us exactly where we want to go. So, this all boils down to what the Source calls the principle of desired direction. And it's not just a nice idea, it's a practical tool. When you consciously identify what you truly want and then frame your deep questions to align with that desire, you're giving your brain a clear target. You're basically giving it the destination, and it will start charting the course to get you there.
So before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question to really think about. What is one persistent, negative question that might be rowing your boat upstream? And what powerful, positive question can you replace it with starting right now? Because remember, the questions you ask yourself are the answers you end up living.